Okay.
And
Ish, I would like to say that there is a website that you can go to translate you can get it on your phone to translate from English to Spanish.
yeah, I know. No, that
Okay.
that that I know. Thank you. I appreciate it. There's a lot of websites. And then it's not 100%. So you really want to have it checked by a native person, otherwise it might be funny or
Right. That's true.
or or highly problematic in some cases. So
Well, what happens is the dialects change, and so sometimes it kind of
yeah.
changes it up.
All right. So this is how we're gonna start. I'm gonna stop sharing. Hey, John, how are you?
Hi, Ish. What's going on? How are you?
Good, man. Listen, thank you so much for taking this time to meet with me. I know this is a big step for you and your family. So the way I like to do, John, is I know this is a big purchase for you. In fact, house is the biggest thing that most Americans buy. Did you know that?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Exactly. So my goal is not to be a doorman for you. I don't want to just open doors for you, right? Anybody can do that. In fact, my 12-year-old son can do that, right? I want to I want to educate you and I want to guide you throughout this entire process so that you know what's going on and you're making intelligent decisions. Does that sound right to you?
That sounds good. Yes.
Perfect. So in doing that, let me go ahead and share my screen. We're going to go over some information, some education.
Sure.
I will allow you a chance to ask questions, and we'll catch up towards the end. All right.
All right. Cool. I'm
All
all
right.
for it. Thank
Perfect.
you.
I'm going to share my screen with you, and let me get my buyer presentations out. So let's take a look at it. Give me 1 second. I'm looking for one more thing. I have these documents in multiple places, so I'm looking for one more thing.
No worries. No worries.
Okay, so the first thing that I start with, guys, is the loyalty agreement, which is something that I created by myself. This is my own, but it's shared with all of you. And expectation sheet. It's the first one on your. It's the first one in your Trello. It should be the first one in your Trello. I've given you access to it. You should take it to Google Doc and then edit it with your name. See, it says your name and so forth. All right. So I'm back to John, the buyer. All right, John. So let's start. So John, as I said, there are a lot of financial and lifestyle benefits to owning a house. And by the way, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can.
All right, perfect. So this is the document I'm going through. What are the financial benefits to owning a house? You get to save money on the taxes. The property values go up. You're not paying the landlord. Perhaps you're collecting rent and so forth. So there are a lot of financial benefits to owning a house. And there are also lifestyle benefits to owning a house. You have laundry in the house. You're not schlepping bags of laundry to the laundromat. You've got parking in the house. You've got maybe you can have a dog. You don't have to ask a landlord about that. Right? There are a lot of financial and lifestyle benefits to owning a home. I'm super thrilled that you've decided to buy a house and become a homeowner. Also, a house is the biggest purchase most Americans make, John. So it's important to make sure that you have a right professional working with you to educate and guide you through the entire process. Does that sound right?
That sounds right.
Exactly. I mean, if you're buying the biggest thing that you'll ever buy, obviously you want to make sure you're working with somebody who knows what's going on, right? So as your buyer's agent, I'm closing already. So pay attention, right? I'm already closing. I'm already telling you as your buyer's agent, my
Right.
goal is to provide my clients with a wow experience, helping you get into your new home in the shortest amount of time and with the least amount of hassle. I promise, John, to do this by being honest and straightforward every step of the way. I'm going to keep your best interest in mind, not mine or anyone else's. Okay? I'm going to customize a search based on your family's wants and needs, area of preference, and budget. I will vet every property for right fit before I even email them to you. So I'm not going to randomly email houses that might be right for you, maybe 50 or 100 of them. No, I'm going to check every property, hand check every property before I email them to you. That means I will probably only email you maybe 5, 6, 7, or 8 of them, but each one of them will be hand picked and hand selected. I'm available for your questions and concerns anytime via phone, text, or in person. I'm available to see properties on your schedule because I do this full time. I'm available 7 days a week. I'm available to go see houses at your schedule. I will give 110% of my effort and attention to you. I'm reliable and on time, and I'm active with realtor organizations, events, and so forth, so that I can serve you better, right? Why does that matter? Well, when I'm involved with other realtors and organizations, they know me and I know them, right? So when I send in a showing request, they'll say, Ish, let's put this forward. When they get an offer from me, they're going to welcome it a lot more than perhaps an agent they don't know, right? So how does that all sound to you, John?
It sounds good. It sounds good. I'm all with it.
Good. I'm glad you understand. Listen, but I can't do all of that all by myself, honestly, right? I need your help too. So in order for me to achieve my goals and get the job done right, I need a few commitments from you, John, okay? First of all, I need you to be honest and straightforward with me every step of the way. All right. So if you happen to loan $20,000 from the down payment money to your cousin, I need you to tell me about that. If you happen to go and get a new car and the mortgage guy tells you, hey, this is going to complicate your chances of getting a mortgage, please let me know. If you think the house is not right or the neighborhood's not right, let me know. John, I'm going to tell you a secret. I'm a great realtor, but I'm a horrible mind reader. I don't know what's going on in your mind. You got to tell me. All right?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Second thing, John, I need you to be reliable and on time. Okay? I'll tell you why. When we're going to see houses, maybe another realtor is going to be opening the door for us. Maybe the seller is going to be opening the door for us. They've got a life to live afterwards. So we really need to be reliable and on time. Right? And then after I show you one house, we're probably going to go see a second or third. And after we're done showing you houses, you've got a date to go to, and I've got my date to go to. So there's a huge domino effect if somebody shows up late. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it does. It does.
Exactly. And so that's why reliability and on timeness is really important, and you can expect that from me too, as I said earlier. And also, by the way, I need you to bring all the decision makers to every showing. If grandma's decision is important to you, I respect that. Our family people as well. But I need you to bring grandma with me every time. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
All right. So whoever's decision is important, wife, sister-in-law, your 2-year-old daughter, whoever's decision is important to you, I respect all of that. Just bring them with you, because in this very hyperactive market, we may not have time to go look at it again to show it to grandma. Okay?
Got it.
Okay. I need you to be flexible with your search and prioritize between needs and wants. Everybody wants a dream house, but I got bad news for you, John. Your first house is not going to be a dream house. It does not exist. Okay? So you're going to have to make.
Well, I'm shooting for my dream home.
Okay. Keep shooting, no problem. But I want you to be a little bit flexible. What happens is, I promise you, every house that we go to see, something will not be right. Something will be missing. I promise you that. Okay? It's a matter of As long as the house fits 85 to 90% of what you're looking for, I want you to go for that, right? The reason for that is this is not your last house. This is not your forever house. Okay, I want you to buy the house. I want you to become a homeowner. In the next 5, 6, 7 years, you will upgrade and go to a better house, and you will rent this house out. Now you will own 2 houses to leave for your kids, and that's how you build wealth. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
But if you
Sounds
keep
like a good idea. Sounds like a good plan.
but if you keep waiting for that dream house, which you don't have a budget for, you will keep waiting and it will not happen. So I want you to take that really seriously and say, okay, as long as we can fit 85 to 90% of our desires in there, we want to go for it. Some house, maybe the yard will be tiny bit smaller than what you want. Or some house, maybe that 3rd bedroom won't be as big as you want. Or some house, maybe the carpet needs to be ripped off and the floors need to be polished or something like that. But every house will require you to give up something, okay? All right.
Okay.
Next, I need you to keep the ball rolling. You have to do your part quickly. Timing is very important. That means if I'm waiting for something or the lender or the lawyer is waiting for something from you, you got to work on it the very next 24 hours. It cannot wait until next Tuesday when you may have your day off. Does that make sense?
I'll try my best.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate that. I need you to submit a valid pre-approval and proof of funds before we begin our search. Okay, so before we go see any houses, I need to have a valid pre-approval and proof of funds in my hand. Many times sellers are not honoring appointments for buyers who may not be able to show that they're ready, willing, and able to buy a house, especially in Corona era. You know, sellers don't want extra traffic going through their houses. They want absolutely qualified people. Does that sound okay to you?
Yeah, sounds good.
Perfect. I also need you to agree to work exclusively with me. My time and energy is very important, John, and I want to dedicate it to people who are committed to working with me, right? And it's good for you, actually. Let me give you a few reasons why it's actually good for you to work with one agent. Imagine you want to see 20 houses. Would you rather make one call and give those 20 addresses to one agent, or would you rather call 20 agents and ask them to show you the houses?
I would rather work with one.
Thank you. Would you rather email your financials to one agent or 20 agents?
Definitely one.
There you go. And then would you rather have your own agent fighting and negotiating for you, or would you rather work with an agent who's actually working for the seller?
No, I want my own agent.
There you go. So the answer is having your own one agent is actually in your best interest. And the nice thing is it doesn't even cost you anything. That's the beauty of it. So you have a licensed, educated, and experienced professional fighting for you and doing all the legwork all for free. That's the beauty of it. So, and that's the kind of clients I like to work with, because as you know, real estate agents don't get paid until the closing. And I want to make sure that after having done all the work for you, I am the one getting paid and not some other agent who didn't really put in all the work. And that's why we have to put it in writing. Does that make sense now?
Makes sense.
Perfect. I'm glad you see that. And then lastly, this is really a favor. I want you to give me a raving review and send me your friends and family referrals if you're happy with my service after everything's said and done. Is that okay with you?
That's fine. Let's see how this goes.
Perfect. All right, good. All right, so now that we have this out of the way, let's move on to the next piece of document that we want to go through. Guys, I'm going to take a step as a break as an agent presenting to John. I'm going to talk to you guys. You see what I did? I've gotten either a yes from him or a no from him. Now, if he had said, no, I'm not going to give you a pre-approval. No, I'm not going to give proof of funds. No, I'm not going to work exclusively with you. Guess what I'm going to do at this point? I'm going to politely wrap up this call. I don't need to spend an hour doing a buyer presentation with somebody who is not willing to work with me exclusively, or do give me a pre-approval or proof of funds. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, but how would you end that call?
I will say, you know what? I absolutely respect your decision. So let's do this. I will continue to email you properties. Anytime you see something that you like, please email me or call me or text me the address, and we will go look at that house. Just keep in mind that we will put an agreement in place just for that one house. So if you buy that house, you'll have to buy through me, but you'll still be free to work with anybody else. Does that make sense to you?
Makes sense.
All right, so that's how I would wrap up the call. I respect that, John. I understand you kind of want to feel things out. You don't know what else may be out there. I respect that. No worries. So look, I have an idea what you're looking for. You told me you're looking for a single family in Yonkers under 500, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, parking is important, basement is important, et cetera, et cetera. I have your email address. I will start emailing you properties right from today, and you will automatically keep getting emails from me anytime a new property comes in. I definitely want to work with you. But like I said, I do work with an agreement. So whenever we go see a house, we will simply put an agreement in place just for that one house. Okay, you won't be bound with me, but we'll put an agreement just for that one house. All right, do you have any other questions?
No, I do not.
Wonderful, no problem. All right, so I will email you the houses. As soon as you see anything you wanna go see, just email me back, and I'll meet you at the property. Have a nice day.
Got it.
That's it. So if somebody does not want to work with, your goal is to have a blanket agreement for 6 months for all of Bronx or Yonkers. Their goal might be, I don't want to lock myself into anything. I want to be a free agent. That's what their mindset. But you have to educate them why it's actually not in their best interest. Ask them, hey, you want to see 20 houses? Would you rather email 20 agents or email 1 agent? Obviously, and you let them answer it, okay? All right, but by doing this first, this is called the, what is it called? Expectations agreement. What you expect from me, what I expect from you. This is what I call the buyer expectation agreement. By the way, I make them sign it here. And by the way, this is an agreement that's available to you guys. My personal agreement has one more line down here, which I want all of you to learn 6 months from now. Right now, you're all new agent. You're kind of shaky on your grounds. I understand that, no problem. My agreement actually has one more line here. What does that line say? You agree to pay me 1% of the purchase price as part of my services. Does that make sense?
So how do you counteract those who know that buyers agents don't get paid by the buyer? How would you combat that?
Actually, that's not true. It's not correct that buyers agents don't get paid by buyers. That's not correct. Most buyers, first of all, there's no rule or there's no law about that. In fact, the law says that you can get paid by both sides as long as all the sides know about it. As long as all the sides know about it, you can get paid from both sides. In the market, most agents do not charge their buyer. It's also a fact that most agents don't really sell that many houses, right? That's true. Most agents don't really do much deals, much business. So I don't want to be most agent. I want to be above most agent. Okay. Let me see where mine is. This is mine. The reason I don't want you to start charging 1% right now is because I need you to get confidence and strength in your presentation. Just getting a presentation is a big deal for you right now, right? Once you cross that threshold in 6 months, then you can start to charge 0.5% or 1% or whatever. But here's mine. And I actually make it very clear to them. Look, I'll show you mine. Hold on a second. Look, you will pay me 1% buyer agent fee for my expertise and negotiations. You understand and agree that I will also be getting paid from the seller side. Not every agent charges a fee to the buyer. I charge a fee to my buyers for the quality service and negotiations I provide my clients. Initial, and then sign at the bottom. Does that make sense? So I actually tell them, look, there's the signatures and the dates and everything. I actually tell them, hey, look, I want to let you know.
But if I have another guy who's been reaching out to me, and he says he's not charging me.
Yeah,
and he's pretty seasoned in the business.
I understand that. I understand that. Look, if he's seasoned and if he can provide you the level of services that I provide, I absolutely would tell you to go with him, right? Let's talk a little bit about what it's all about. What is 1%? For $500,000, 1% is $5,000. This is the biggest purchase of your life that you're about to make. You're telling me that 1% or $5,000 is a lot of money to help you in negotiating that biggest purchase of your life, right? Secondly, imagine you're working with the right agent who knows how to negotiate. And if that agent is able to negotiate 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 from the market value, haven't you already recovered that 5,000 or the 1% that you paid? Do you understand? So it's not about, hey, you know what, that agent is willing to do it for free. First of all, you get what you pay for, right? So you pay little, you're going to get little. You pay a little bit more, you're going to get a little, and so forth. Secondly, by paying an agent who knows what they're doing, you may be able to get a lot more in return through negotiations and so forth. So just keep that in mind. All right. So yeah, so I charge 1% for my as a buyer's agent fee. For my expertise in negotiations. You understand and agree that I'll also be getting paid from the seller side. Not every agent charges a fee to the buyer. I charge a fee to my buyers for the quality service and negotiations that I provide. By the way, 90% of people that I do presentation with have said yes to the exclusive agreement and have said yes to paying me 1%. 90% of the people. The other one, then the other 10% who have said no, I don't want them as my clients anyways. Okay? Now for you guys, I don't want you to do this right now. I want you to gain confidence just doing the presentation alone without having that extra thing. I did not charge 1% to my buyers in the first 12 months or a year that I was in the business. Go ahead.
So let me ask you, that 1%, where does that 1% come from?
What does it cover?
No, where does it come from? Is that part of the closing?
It comes from the buyer's pocket. It comes from the buyer's pocket. Now, if they don't,
right, but that's gonna be language that's put into the contract for closing, right?
No, it has nothing to do with the contract. You can put it in the memo if you like. I don't put it in the memo either. I wait till almost the closing time. When you're close to closing, right? When you're approaching the closing, the attorney is going to email you saying, John, please send me your side of the bill, your memo, your invoice. Send me your invoice. At that time, you will reach out to me and say, Ish, the attorney is asking for invoice. What do we do? And then, by the way, that's already in your Trello. But I'll walk you through that and say, okay, let's prepare an invoice, right? We will send an invoice to the attorney, say, here's my invoice. House is $500,000. I'm getting 2% from the seller side, so 2% of 500 is $10,000. Please make the check to eXp Realty. And that's your bill. You send it over to the attorney. Now, if you're getting paid from the buyer as well, then you prepare two invoices. One for the seller side, one for the buyer side. Both of them go to the same attorney. Here are my invoices. 1% from the buyer side, 2% from the seller side. And then if the attorney or anybody raises any question, you have this paperwork to send them over to them.
And then to follow up with that question, does that 1% also get sent to eXp and is subject to
Yes.
a split in commission?
All money received in real estate goes to the broker.
Got it.
Agents do not collect money, and as you start in this business, people will offer you money on the side, and I would highly caution you not to take it because it's going to jeopardize your license. All money has to go through the broker, and then you get your share, they take their share, whatever it is, right?
Got it.
But the answer is yes. Okay. All right, guys, so let's keep moving. I don't want to dwell too much onto this, but the point is you want to do the buyer expectation first for a few reasons. First of all, you see, it's like starting to date somebody and you kind of like sit down and have a conversation. right? Like, hey, you're gonna do the dishes on Wednesday and I'll do the dishes on Thursday, kind of a deal, right? I need you to be reliable. I need you to be on time. I need you to bring mom and dad and cousins on all the showings. I need you to be a little bit flexible. I can't have you being too picky. I need you to see, oh, I skipped this line, by the way. I need you to give serious consideration to my professional advice. So when I email you comms and I give you an advice of what the offer price should be, I need you to really take that seriously, right? And so forth. I need you to keep the ball rolling. I need the valid pre-approval proof of funds. I need you to work exclusively with me. And then this is just a kind of a bonus there. So basically what this does is it does two things. One, it sets ground rules to say, hey, I can't have you showing up late. You understand? I can't have that. I can't have this. And also, are you willing to work with me exclusively? Are you willing to give me your pre-approval and proof of funds? Are you willing to blah, 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 right? And if they say yes, 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 great, wonderful. Let's move on, right? If they say no, you don't say, okay, I'm not going to do the rest of the presentation. You don't say that. They don't know what the rest of the presentation is unless you tell them about it, right? So you just say, hey, you know what, that's fine. I respect that. No worries. I will email you properties. Continue to email properties as they come along. Anytime you see something you like, please just email it to me and we will go see the house and we will put an agreement for that one house each time. Does that make sense? All right, nice talking to you. Look out for an email from me. They don't know what the rest of the presentation was, right? All right, so that's why you want to do this presentation, this document first. All right, guys, let's move on to the next document that I have. Now that John has agreed to work with me, the next thing I want to go over is the buying process. John, because this is the first time you guys are buying a house, I want to go through the buying process so you know what to expect every step of the way. All right. And by the way, everything that I show you today, I will be emailing you after this call. Okay. After this meeting, I'll be emailing you everything for your records. All right. So first of all, this is the home buying presentation. The very first step of buying a house, John, is not to actually start looking at houses or start going through open houses, but really to meet with a real estate professional. And that's what we're doing today. That's the very first step, right? Discuss the type of home you're looking for, including style, price, and location. And as I said earlier, the buyer's advantage, as the home buyer, your agent's commission is paid by the seller of the home. Now, if you're like me, who charges an extra %, I will add most of my commission will be covered by the seller, and if there is some difference, it'll be covered by you. This means your representation costs you nothing. In my case, I would say this means that your representation costs you very little, if anything. Okay. All right. The very next step after meeting with a real estate agent and getting this education is to get pre-approved. You can get pre-approved first and meet with an agent, or meet with an agent and then get pre-approved. I like that you're already pre-approved, John. Or if you talk to somebody who are not pre-approved, say, you know what, I'll connect you with some trusted mortgage partners if you like, that you can reach out and get pre-approved. All right. If somebody is already pre-approved, guys, you don't want to dwell too much. Go ahead.
When you refer a client to a mortgage broker, is that just typically just a referral, or do we normally get a kickback? I don't know if that's the word I should be using, but.
No, we don't get anything back. In fact, it's against the law.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Does it mean it doesn't happen? It does happen. Oftentimes, mortgage guys will take care of you other ways, like they'll print stuff for you, door hangers, this, that, whatever. You know, they might treat you to a dinner, a holiday party. They might invite you to a holiday party or something like that. But usually, there is no such thing as a referral fee or a kickback or anything like that, and it's illegal.
Got it.
And they're not allowed to give you anything of value. They can give you a pen or paper or something with their logo on it, but they can't give you like a $50 Starbucks card or something. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but you know, it's against the rules. Right.
I'm with you. Okay.
Now here's the and then same thing the other way. Mortgage companies are not supposed to charge you a referral fee for sending you clients as well. So they can't say, hey, I'm sending you a buyer, but I want you to give me 10%. No, they can't do that. However, mortgage companies have found a workaround where they create a sister company, right? So let's imagine Quicken Loans is Quicken Loans. They cannot charge realtors a referral fee. But what they do is they create a side company called Quicken Leads, right? And then Quicken Leads will reach out to you and say, hey, John, we have a buyer in the Bronx, and we see you're an agent in the Bronx. How would you like this buyer to work with? And when you sell, we're going to charge you 25%. And then John will agree, right? Because it's still valuable to him. And then the Quicken Leads will charge you 25%, but not Quicken Loans. So they get around the law by creating a sister company. And that's completely legal by doing that.
Which is what Opcity does. Right.
The mortgage company that I used to work for, Guidance, it's a Muslim Islamic faith-based mortgage company. They did similar thing where they created Guidance Home Services, GHS. Yeah, Guidance Home Services. So Guidance Realty is the mortgage company, Guidance Residential is the mortgage company, and then Guidance Home Services, the lead referral company. So they send out referrals to agents, and then they charge that agent 25% at closing time for giving that lead. Right. So if somebody's already pre-approved, you don't want to spend too much time on why they should get pre-approved because they already got pre-approval. You understand? You keep it moving. If somebody's not pre-approved, then you want to tell them, hey, you want to get pre-approved because that way sellers will take us seriously. They'll schedule our showings. They'll take our offer seriously. And God forbid, if you fall in love with the house and now you want to make an offer, it's going to take you 2-3 days to get a pre-approval. By that time, the other buyers will take the house. So we really want to make our case strong by being ready with the pre-approval.
Right. So I've come across buyers that say I got a pre-approval, but I don't think that they approved me for enough. Is there a way for me to speak to someone else that perhaps can get me more money approved?
So generally the answer is no. I mean, there might be some leeway, right? If they're pre-approved for 600, can they get 620? Maybe, right? One mortgage company might be a little bit more lenient than another mortgage company, right? One mortgage company might be a little bit more lenient with their credit score requirement, with their income requirement, with their debt to income ratio requirement, and so forth, as opposed to another company, right? You know, it's like the armed forces. If you don't get into the Marines, you might be able to get into the Navy or something, right? Because their requirements might be a little bit more lenient. I don't know. But what do you say, John?
No, I when it comes to the military, maybe if you can't get into the Air Force or Navy, but yeah, you could probably get into the Army or something. Yeah.
There you go. But I don't know if you know, but Levon's son is a military guy.
Yeah, so am I. I actually just took my MRP course yesterday.
So I know you are. That's why I'm telling you about Levon's son.
Yeah, she did. She told me when I posted the thing, and it was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, you're right. The
wait for him to get back and safe as well, you know.
He's here. He's here.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, he's here. He's back.
Oh, God bless. God bless.
And yeah, so speaking to another mortgage company, will that get you more money, more approval? Yeah, it's possible, but not a whole lot more. If you're approved for 600, you're not going to get 650 or 700 by talking to another mortgage company. You might get another, $10,000, $20,000 and so forth, depending on how lenient or not lenient one company is versus the other. All right. So now that you're pre-approved, John, what we're going to do is we're going to start looking for homes. Okay, I've jotted down over here. I'm going to jot down here on my interview form what it is that you're looking for: area, bedrooms, bathrooms, and so forth. All right. And then I will start emailing you houses. As part of the advanced charge, by the way, I'll make sure that the houses are fully available. they don't have an accepted offer, and so forth. Chances are, John, when we go look at the houses, you're going to like many of the houses that we see, and it's time to make an offer. Do you know how we come up with an offer price?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
All right, cool. So many buyers don't actually know how the offer price is derived. Okay, and many agents will actually look towards the buyer. Yep. Many agents will look towards the buyer and say, hey, Mr. Buyer, how much would you like to offer? I find that very mind-boggling that you're asking the client or the buyer who's not the authority or the expert in this field of what they would like to offer. The true answer is offer price is based on market value. What is the value of this house in the market? How do we come up with that? Well, we look at the area, we look at the market. What are similar houses like this one going for in the market? Currently for sale and recently sold, right? Imagine this house is 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2,000 square feet with 2-car parking and a finished basement and so forth. What are other houses going for with all of the similar features? And if they're all going for 600,000 and this one is asking for 650, so the answer is this one is also worth 600, and we're going to make an offer about $600,000. And that's how you come up with an offer price. All right. We don't care what the asking price is. They could be asking for too much. They could be asking for too little. We really don't care. So what we do care is what is the market value, and that's what we're going to base our offer on. You make a strong offer. A strong offer is an offer based on market value, and with 2 more things: pre-approval and proof of funds. All right, pre-approval and proof of funds. You have those 3 things, you're going to have an accepted offer. It's not a matter of luck, right? Some agents say, hey, if we're lucky, we're going to have our offer accepted. No, it's not a matter of luck, right? You can have all the luck in the world, but if you're $50,000 below market value, you're not going to have an offer accepted. All right, you can have all the luck in the world, and if you don't have a pre-approval to show that you're pre-approved, you're not going to have an accepted offer. Simple as that. So market value offer, proof of funds, pre-approval. And that's why before even we go see the house, I like to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row so that when you do fall in love with the house, we're not scrambling last minute, right? We have everything in order, ready to go. As soon as we like the house, we want to go because other buyers are looking at the house too. All right. Once we make an offer, we have an accepted offer. Next thing is your opportunity to do a home inspection. That's your chance to find out what may be physically wrong with the house. And by the way, I'll give you a few home inspectors that I recommend. You're not required to work with them, but I highly recommend them. These are good, reliable people that I know and work with on a regular basis, and I trust them. And they certainly are trusted in the market with lots of good reviews as well. All right. Inspector is going to do inspection and give you a report of what may be wrong with the house. We're going to take the critical items and we may negotiate some of that. And then the sellers may agree to some of that. The sellers may not agree to some of that, but we'll discuss that as the time goes on. You have any questions, John? And then you ask them some questions. All righty. All right. Then after the inspections are completed, the seller's attorney is going to prepare the contract and send it over to your attorney. That's why you should start shopping for a home inspector and attorney right now. Either, look at the ones I'm going to refer and recommend, Google them, read their reviews and so forth, give them a call, or ask your friends and family for a recommendation and so forth. But really the time to find an inspector and attorney is now, not once you fall in love with the house, because by then we really want to start rolling. All right. When your attorney gets the contract, your attorney is going to give you a call and set up an appointment to sit down with you to review the contract. Once you review the contract and get your questions answered, you're going to sign the contract and you're going to give a check for a down payment. Okay? All right, any questions?
That down payment portion, the lawyer will explain that to the buyer. I don't have, or do I have to?
The lawyer will explain, but you certainly can explain it. If somebody's working with the minimum down payments at 3%, 5%, then say, hey, your down payment will be due when you're signing the contract, and so forth. If somebody's putting 20, 30% down payment, then you can go one step further and say, hey, you know what? Even though you're putting 20% down payment, I want to keep your money safe and secure with you. So we're going to break it up in two pieces. One piece will be 5%, and we're going to send that when you sign the contract, and that's called EMD, Earnest Money Deposit. Okay? I know you want to put down 20%, and we will put down 20%, but I want to hold that money in your bank as much as possible, as opposed to give it to the seller's lawyer. So what we're going to do is we're only going to give 5% at contract signing. The other 15% we will give at closing time. That way your money is secure in your hand, in your bank account. Okay. Does that make sense, guys? So if somebody's putting more than 5%, then you explain to them what EMD is, the fact that you're breaking the down payment into two parts. If somebody's only putting 3% or 4% or 5%, meaning very little down payment, there's no need to explain any of that stuff, and there's no need to break that down payment into two pieces. I hope that makes sense to all of you guys, and I hope you guys are still listening and paying attention and not on Facebook or anything. All right.
I'm listening.
All right, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, when you sign the contract, by the way, look, having an offer accepted is a great deal. It's a big deal in this very active market with lots of buyers. It's a big achievement, but it's no guarantee of anything. So we really want to get the inspection done, and we really want to meet with the lawyer right away. That means within 24 hours, 48 hours. We cannot wait until next Friday when you have a day off. That means if you need to take a half a day off, if you need to take a couple of hours off to get the inspection done or meet with the lawyer, I highly recommend you do that. This is a big deal. You are buying a house, so you really got to move things around a little bit. All righty? All right. When you sign the contract, that contract goes to the lawyer, the seller's lawyer, and the seller's going to sit down with the lawyer and sign the contract. At this point, we are in contract. Okay. You'll have, after that, you'll have about 45 to 60 days to get a mortgage approval and get to closing and so forth. Once you're in contract, the seller cannot give that house to anybody else. That's the nice thing. So now we can all relax a little bit and take things a little bit smooth, but until then, we really got to keep things moving. All right, once you're in contract, now your mortgage company is going to start the mortgage process. They're going to send an appraiser to find the value of the house. Your lawyer is going to do a title search to make sure there are no legal problems with the house. And then once all of that is said and done, we're going to set up the closing. We're going to look at our calendars and pick a day that's good for everybody, and we're going to have the closing on that day. You will sign papers, you'll write checks, and you'll get the keys to the house. And that, my friend, is the biggest day of your life when you become a homeowner. Any questions? And then you allow them for a chance for questions. All right, do you guys have any questions? Okay, so now that you have no questions, by the way, I also have this in Spanish. I'll send it over to you as well. You can share with a family member or a friend and so forth. All right, after they're done with that, guys, you move on to the next one. Let's go over the benefits of a home ownership, okay? What are some of the benefits of owning a house? First of all, happiness. The fact that you own that piece of land and the house, it's yours, it doesn't belong to anybody else. There's a certain level of happiness attached to that. You can fix it, you can get a dog, you can have barbecue, you can come home and park your car. Those are happiness. All right. Tax savings. The government rewards homeowners by providing excellent tax benefits. The interest paid on your home mortgage and other home-related expenses such as property tax or tax deductible property and so forth. Appreciation. House values go up over time. literally the value is going up while you live and sleep in it. So that's another benefit. Equity. The monthly mortgage payment that you pay, some of that is going into the house. Some of that is going into the house itself, acting like a savings account. So that's equity. Next is roots. People who own rather than rent stay in their homes 4 times longer. This provides an opportunity to get to know your neighbors and connect with your local community. And finally, education. Research shows that children of homeowners earn higher test scores and graduate at a higher percentage than those of renters. I don't know if you know that, but that is one of the benefits of owning a house. So that's in a summary of the benefits of home ownership. Any questions? Okay. Next, we talk about the do's and don'ts. Hey, you're buying a house and you're getting a mortgage. I want to make sure that we don't make silly mistakes which can jeopardize your chance of getting a loan. All right, so let's talk about these. These are really important. First, don't quit your job. Hold off on making changes to employment. Lenders like to see job stability. Okay, it is ideal that you have been at the same company and doing the same kind of job for more than 2 years. Thinking of going for a better job with more money? Hold off till after you close on the house. Certainly don't get fired. Next, don't deposit cash into your bank accounts, okay? Lenders need to trace where money came from. And if they can't trace that money, the paper trail is not there, they're not going to allow you to use that money to buy a house. And you may be short with your down payment or closing costs. Don't make any large purchases such as a new car or a bunch of furniture. New debt comes with it, including new monthly obligations, and that's going to create issues for your qualification for a mortgage. So hold off on everything except food. And I like to tell my buyers, don't buy anything except for food, all right, until you get the keys to the house. Don't co-sign loans for anyone else. Somebody else wants to buy a house or a car or furniture. Tell them you're in the process of buying a house and you'll talk to them after you have closed on your property. Don't change your bank accounts, okay? Sometimes lenders will require or ask you for old bank statements. Those may be hard to get if your bank account is closed. Don't apply for new credit card, guys. New credit cards are bad for your credit score, okay? So don't apply for new credit cards. You go to Macy's, they offer you 10% discount. If you open a card, tell them no thank you. Next, don't close any old credit cards. Old credit cards are really good for your credit score. So don't close any old credit cards. And lastly, don't spend your down payment money, right? If the cousin asks you to borrow your down payment money for 2 weeks, say no, let's talk after I buy the house. Don't, because you don't know if you're going to get that money after 2 weeks. All right, any questions so far? You ask them questions and you allow them to ask questions. Okay. Now that we have gone through a lot of the education, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the required paperwork and so forth. First of all, this is the eXp Realty Wire Fraud Advisory. There's a lot of fraud in this world. There's a lot of wire transfer fraud in this world, especially in the time of real estate, buying a house. Right? You're going through a lot of different process and steps. There's a lot of confusion sometimes and so forth. And you may get an email that looks very real and legitimate, either from me, my company, their lender, or somebody, right? With instructions asking you to wire money. Let me say it very clearly. All right. Never wire transfer funds without personally speaking with the intended recipient of the wire to confirm the routing number and account number. So if you ever get any email from anybody asking you to wire money to them, please do not do it. Call them, talk to the person, talk to me, your lawyer, your lender, to make sure that this is legitimate before you do it. All right. You allow them to read this over. By the way, I'm going to email you this document for electronic signature after this meeting, okay? All right, next thing, let's go ahead and talk about is the carbon monoxide. Regulations require that a functioning carbon monoxide and smoke detector must be installed in every 1- and 2-family house, co-op, or condo constructed or offered for sale. At least one carbon monoxide alarm and smoke detector must be present in each dwelling unit. Blah, blah, blah. You let them read it and then tell them, I will email this to you for electronic signature. All right, let's talk about lead. This is a lead pamphlet. I will email it to you for your records. And then once we have found a house, the seller will tell us whether there's any lead in the house or not, but we will leave that for later. Here's my list of preferred vendors. These are people I work with regularly, and I highly recommend them. They're good, honest, and trustworthy people, and they're reasonably priced. These are home inspectors, these are attorneys, and then these are mortgage guys. These are people that I work with on a regular basis. Any given week, I have files that I'm working with, so I highly recommend that you work with them as well. Next, let's talk about New York State agency disclosure. New York State requires for me to make it clear to you about my role, who I work for. This is not a contract, and this is for your benefit, so you know who I'm working for, all right? There are seller's agents, there are buyer's agents, and then there are broker's agents, and then there are dual agents. A seller's agent's job is to exercise reasonable skill and care in performance of the agent's duties, deal honestly, fairly, and in good faith, and disclose all facts known to the agent material. A seller's agent has, without limitation, the following fiduciary duties to the seller: reasonable care, undivided loyalty, confidentiality, full disclosure, obedience, and duty to account, right? Seller's agent's job is to get the house sold with the most money possible for the seller. Buyer's agent's job is to help you find a house that is suitable for your family, okay? And negotiate the best price possible for you and walk you through the inspection and the appraisal and all of the steps and get you to the closing table, right? I have to exercise reasonable care, skill, and care in performance of my duties. I have to deal honestly, fairly, and in good faith and disclose all facts known to me materially affecting the buyer's ability and or willingness to perform a contract to acquire seller's property that are not consistent with the agent's fiduciary duties to the buyer. I may be a broker's agent where I'm actually working for the broker. And then finally, I may be a dual agent where I'm working with the seller as well as I'm working with the buyer. For now, I will be working with you as your buyer's agent. I will be representing your best interest. If one of the property that you like happens to be listed through me or my agency or my company, I will explain to you again what dual agency means, and then I'll let you decide at that point. But for now, I'm your buyer's agent representing you as your buyer's agent. Okay, do you have any questions? No? All right, I will email that to you for your electronic signature. All right, next thing, let's talk about an exclusive agreement. Earlier in the call, I explained to you that I work only as under an exclusive agent contract. This is a contract, okay? Your name goes here. You're hiring me as your buyer's agent, okay? To help you locate, assist, and or negotiate for your purchase, lease, or exchange of the type of property described in this agreement, okay? I'll be your buyer's agent. This agreement is good for 6 months, and I'll put a date here for 6 months from now, okay? What property, what type of property you want to buy, we're going to put that here, okay? We can put some more stuff here in terms of what you're looking for. As I said earlier, my agent commission is 1% from you, so I'll put that here, okay? I don't charge any flat fee, so we're going to cross this out. I don't hold any retainer, so you don't have to pay anything up front to retain my services. We're not going to do that, so we're going to cross that out, okay? I will allow you a chance to read all of this when you get it. I will send this to you in an electronic agreement for you to read and then sign, okay? You're not obligated to pay my buyer's agent fee except for the 1% that we talked about. And this will be made clear to everyone towards the closing time. If you're not charging anybody something, by the way, then you can just read whatever it says here, okay? Okay. My responsibility. By the way, this is good for you because this spells out what I'm responsible for, which is great for you. My responsibility is to agree to use reasonable skill and diligence on locating the property acceptable to you. Buyer's agent will use professional knowledge and skill to negotiate for client's advantage in purchase of said property. Buyer's agent will assist client throughout the transaction and act in the client's best interest at all times and present offers on behalf of the client unless otherwise directed by the client. Okay? Client is advised, acknowledges, and understand that broker eXp Realty may also be representing other buyers who may seek, submit offers, and contract to purchase property through broker eXp Realty, including the same property which the buyer may seek to purchase. Okay? I may not counsel you on legal, home inspection, public health, surveying, tax, financial, and other technical matters. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a home inspector. I'm not a public health official. Upon request, I will assist buyer in engaging qualified and competent professionals in such fields. Buyer's agent is committed to the philosophy. I'm committed to the philosophy of fair housing for all people. Therefore, I will present properties to buyer in full compliance with local, state, and federal health. By the way, I don't read all of this stuff. I allow them to read all of it on their own. And then I tell them that to sign here and here, or I will email you all of this for you to sign electronically and send this back to me. All right, guys, that's it. That's really the whole buyer presentation that I go over. At this point, I wrap up. I email all of that in a Zoom electronic signature document, or if they're sitting next to me, then they sign it. I give everybody a copy, and we're done. That's your buyer presentation, guys. Any questions?
Not for me. I've done it.
Alrighty. Anybody else? I'd love for everybody to participate, please. Anybody, everybody, nobody? Lakeisha, you still with us? Barry, you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, feel free to open your camera, guys. Now that we
I have been taking notes. You know, I have been following the buyer presentation many times, but anytime I do it, so I still learn something new. So, which is really interesting.
Perfect. Anthony, welcome to the call. Feel free to share your camera, please, and your mic so we could talk.
I can't get to the bottom of the screen for some reason. Hold on.
Okay.
Here it is.
Wasn't Anthony with us too?
He's still here as far as I see.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, Anthony's with us. Okay. Any questions, Levon?
Not for me. I've been like Barry. I've seen this before, and I've actually done it with you, and we role played it a couple of times. So I have this in my head all together.
Okay. Who feels comfortable and confident in doing this presentation? Not right now with me, I'm just saying in general. Who feels comfortable and confident that say, you know what, I can do this. I'm able to
I personally have been doing it. Maybe I felt more comfortable doing it. Mostly I have done it with my people in the community.
Mm-hmm.
I observed that I was much more comfortable because I explained to them in our native language, or sometimes I explain to them in French.
Right.
I haven't done it a lot with English-speaking clients because so far I have more clients coming from my community or the African community.
Right.
But I felt the comfort sitting with them, and like you said, I always start with that first step to educate them. And once you educate them, you really kind of win their heart, because I heard 80% of those clients telling me, oh, I have been looking for a house for years, but no one did this for me. And not just my community, even staff at the hospital. So whenever they tell me that they are looking for a house, I will sometimes just take an opportunity to use whatever time they have to take, even 10-15 minutes to go quickly with the buyer presentation. It's just give them an idea, wow, they don't know I don't have a lot of experience, they will just say, wow, you know this area. Because in 15 minutes, I learned so much. So I just go through everything and I guide them with the steps.
Got it. John, what about you? What did you learn?
I'm sorry, I had to step away to talk to my buyer. She's getting emotional, and so I missed a portion of the presentation here. Sorry.
No worries. Okay. I am recording it. I'll put the video out into the Telegram. Go watch it. But you were with us for a majority of the time. So what did you learn?
Well, I did like the beginning portion when you were doing the setting the expectations with the buyer. I think that that's very important, because sometimes if that's not discussed and you're not kind of putting that expectation out there, it's kind of open-ended. And so, you know, if you're later kind of, you know, seeing that they're not as responsible as you want them to, it can create some kind of misunderstanding or aggravation on your end. But I really like that. I have seen that on Trello, but I like the way you put it together, even with the objections that we went through. So that's something that I'm for sure going to start applying.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about being late. I don't want to hold off talking about being late until they're late. I want to talk about it before day one. I don't want to hold off talking about them lowballing offers until they lowball an offer. I want to talk about it day one, so they never make a lowball offer. I want to talk about it day one, so they never show up late. You understand? I want to talk about it day one, so they don't show up without mom or dad or grandma. If grandma's opinion is important, I want you to bring grandma. You understand? So I don't want to, you know, I want to talk about all of it day one, so they know what I expect from them. Because basically what I'm trying to say is, hey, my time and energy is very valuable, so I need you to behave like this. And your time and energy is very valuable, and I will behave like this, right? So it's a two-way street. It's not just like, I want this from you. No, in fact, I tell them what they can expect from me. That's actually the first thing I talk about. This is what you can expect from me. I'm going to be honest and reliable. I'm going to have your best interest in my mind, not in my pocket or anybody else, right? And so forth. I'm reliable and on time. I need you to be reliable and on time. I need you to show up on time. I need you to bring everybody, and I need you to give me pre-approval and proof of funds and so forth. And then the other thing is, by doing this first, you get to take the temperature of where they are. Are they willing to work with you exclusively? Are they willing to give you a pre-approval proof of funds? Are they willing to do this and then? And if the answer is no, you really don't need to spend an hour of doing buyer presentation. You understand? You can spend that hour doing something else, anything else. So that's why you want to do this the first. Your Trello should look approximately like this, where this is the buyer's document. And it's the first thing. By the way, look, we have really tried to dumbify this. It says these are the documents that go into the buyer folder. These documents should be in the folder in the exact order as below. So if you put it in your folder in the order that I've given it to you, as you open the folder, they will come out in the order that you should be presenting. So here's the first one, buyer expectation agreement. And I even tell you whether you should print it in color or black and white. And then buyer profile interview. That's this guy right here. Right? Just interview questions. This. How many bedrooms, bathrooms, and so forth. Benefits of home ownership. The buying process in English. The buying process in Spanish. I put English and Spanish in every folder. Even if my client is not going to be Spanish, so what? I tell them, hey, share it with a friend or somebody, right? But I don't really create an English folder and a Spanish folder. I just create a folder with everything in there. And then if they happen to be not Spanish speaking, then okay, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Preferred vendors, do's and don'ts, New York State agency disclosure, exclusive agreement, wire fraud advisory, carbon monoxide, list of documents needed to get a pre-approval, America's preferred home warranty affiliate business disclosure form, and flood disclosure. Those are the forms you should be printing out and putting in a folder. Alrighty? Any questions? All right, guys. That's really it. I'm happy to keep taking questions and keep discussing what's going on, what you have learned today, and so forth. There are two ways. There's after you do the presentation, assuming that you're doing Zoom presentation, after you do the presentation, there are two ways to send documents for electronic signature. One is through Matrix. Matrix has a program built in called Instanet, Authentisign Instanet. And then the other way is SkySlope. Okay, and I've given you both of them right here. Here's how you get buyer agreement signed remotely using Authentisign in Matrix. And here is how to use SkySlope DigiSign to get buyer agency and buyer agreement signed remotely. So you have two different ways to use it. You could use either one, doesn't really matter. Below this list of documents, there's another list. It says below that list of documents, you have another list. This is additional items for buyers when needed, but not going in every folder. So just additional stuff, but you really don't need it unless you need it, okay? All right, any questions?
No.
Bernadette, Lakeisha, Barry, Anthony, you guys learned something today?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, I did.
Okay. I want you guys to.
Yes, I'm sorry, my mic was off.
All right, no problem. So I'm glad that you guys joined. I appreciate all of you guys joining today. Put this into practice. Reach out to some people who are looking to buy and sell and so forth. Reach out to me, guys. As I've said before, I'm not going to babysit you. I'm not going to babysit you, okay? My time and energy is very important, and I'm not going to care about your real estate work if you don't care about your real estate work. But you'll always find me to be there whenever you need me. It may not be in that very moment, very same second, but I will always get back to you. And you know, if you reach for my hand, I will probably give you my whole arm. That's the kind of person I am. But you really have to reach out for it. I'm not going to give you, I'm not going to, because I've done it before, and it's very disappointing afterwards. So I don't want to babysit you guys. You really have to make an effort and then reach out to me and say, Ish, I need this, I need help, I need this, I need this, I need this. And I'll be more than happy to help you. You see me like asking John, where's his deal? You see me asking Randy, where's his deal? I'm going to ask you guys, hey, where's it? Because I want you to I want you to give me little updates. Hey, Ish, we did this. Hey, Ish, we did this. Because, right, I don't want you to jump from A to E and I don't know what happened in B, C, and D, and E, right? I want you to tell me, hey, Ish, we finished A, now we're doing B, and now we're doing C, and we're doing D. I want you to tell me all of that, because when you tell me that, I'm going to give you some more knowledge and education for those steps, right? So don't give me the highlights, give me all the details as you're moving through the deal. And do it in the group chat so everybody can benefit. All right.
I agree with you, Ish, and I'm very thankful for the advice that you have been lending me throughout this whole process. And the reason I had to step away during the Zoom call is because my buyer called me, and the anxiety is kicking in.
Let's talk about it. What is she anxious about?
So, like I told you, she put an offer on this purchase on this house virtually. She's been traveling with family these last couple of weeks, and she never got a chance to see the property physically. Okay. So today she drove down, and I went and I met with her, and I showed her the property. And her family, super supportive, super positive. They all loved the house. She left happy. And, during our call, she texted me and said she needed to speak to me. So I stepped off and I reached out to her. And she says, John, I'm really overwhelmed. I'm doing some numbers here, and I can do the down payment, but coming up with the closing while I have it, I'm going to go into this house with nothing. You know, in case I have to do repairs or anything, I'm gonna go in with my pockets empty. But I have everything to, you know, close on the property. And so I'm just kind of thinking maybe I'm chewing more than I can swallow, if that's the proper phrase. And so I had to kind of talk her off the ledge, and because she has her meeting tomorrow with the attorney to sign on it. You know, she has the down payment. So I said, look, you know, I think that, you know, if you're not comfortable putting in the closing, I think there still may be an opportunity for you to do a concession on the purchase. But I think before, you know, we can say that for sure, we need to get on the phone with the proper people, you know, with our mortgage guy, and, you know, have that conversation with the attorney and make sure that the buyer, you know, agrees to this. You know, but I think that there's still a chance for you to still pull this off. And I kind of brought her back and to say, hey, look, I know the house that you're looking at is beautiful, but it's also at that price range. So you're not going to find anything on the market in the condition that this one is in for that a lower price. And so she agrees and she understands that this is a good buy. But I think her concern, what I gather is that her concern is the closing. So she reiterated that I've been very supportive and I've been very nice during this whole process, more so than she had expected a realtor to be. So she feels very comfortable with my advice. So I said, look, I know that you don't have a car and you probably don't have a way to get to the attorney's office. I'll be your taxi driver tomorrow if you need me to. But I want you to have that conversation with the attorney on your own. I don't think that I should be there. I don't want you to think that I'm influencing you to make a purchase or a decision that you don't want to make. And she goes, actually, it's the opposite, John. She goes, I would rather you're present because I actually like the input that you put in. And I said, well, I'm not going to be putting any input in tomorrow's conversation. I think you need to start making these decisions on your own and not be guided by anybody. And so that's where I'm at. So I'm going to be her taxi driver tomorrow and then see where this goes. I mean, I'm still going to push her to sign this document because I want her to close. So thoughts, comments?
That's actually very good. I really like that. That's just the perfect way to handle that. Yeah. I don't know if attorneys are doing in-person meetings. I guess they are, but a lot of attorneys have been doing Zoom consultations for the last 2 months.
I've seen them do it in the parking lot. Like they meet up in the parking lot to do the closing.
Closings, yeah, but I'm talking about the signing the contract part. Traditionally, the buyer would go to the attorney's office and sit down and review the contract and sign the contract or so forth. Traditionally, but the last 2-3 months, attorneys have been doing that over Zoom.
Yes, so, I was surprised too. I mean, she had a meeting scheduled, so.
Yeah, it's fine. Generally, I wouldn't offer to drive somebody there. You know, generally, I wouldn't do that. So just keep that in mind. I also don't advise you to drive your buyers around to see properties.
No, I don't do that. I don't do that.
Yeah. No, some buyers will expect that. Some buyers will ask you for that. Some agents offer that. Some agents do that. It's fine. I personally don't advise you to do that. I want the buyers to have some skin in the game, right? And I don't want them to feel like, okay, let me do my hair, let me put my shoes on, and let me head out. John will, you know, drive me around like Miss Daisy. I want them to feel the pain of getting a cab or having a taxi or having a car or finding a driver or something every time they go see a house, right? Because the more easier you make, the more houses they might want to see.
No, of course, I agree with you. And that's why I've never driven any of my buyers to go see a property.
Yeah.
To go see a property. But yeah. I think at this point of this, in this stage of the game,
yeah,
I'm just trying to get to closing.
I understand.
I mean,
yeah. That's fine, and that's completely fine. I'm not, you know, that's absolutely completely fine. Just as a general rule, like I wouldn't really drive somebody anywhere, especially our insurance probably doesn't cover it because when we got the insurance, we told them it's a personal car, right? So just something to keep in mind in the future when if something does happen and the insurance company's like, well, what were you doing? And if you say, oh, I'm driving my client around seeing houses, and they'll be like, oh, you told us it was a personal car. You understand? So there's a lot of legal financial ramifications besides just the fact that the client may take advantage of your time looking at houses after house after house after house because they're not really the one, driving around and whatnot. But anyway, what you did so far is great. The way you handle that buyer anxiety is great. She may be able to do seller concession. She may be able to just use the money for closing and then deal with the repairs later on. Does the house need repairs?
No, it doesn't. It's move-in ready, completely move-in ready.
And then
She
how
wants
much?
she wants to build a kitchen in the basement.
Okay, and is she
I mean,
going
but
to,
that's
is she going to be able to rent out anything later on or no?
yeah. She can rent the upstairs. It's move-in ready again. The house doesn't
It's a
need.
two-family.
Yeah, it's a two-family
Yeah, so
with a full finished basement.
tell her, buying a house is a big deal, and anything big deal requires bold decisions and big steps, right? If
I like
buying a house was
like that.
easy, everybody would
like
be a homeowner.
I like that.
Yeah, so buying a house is a big deal, and big deals require big decisions and big steps, big bold steps. But the reward will be after you jump, right? Make that jump, like Steve Harvey says. You should look it up on YouTube. Steve Harvey, make the jump, something like that. It's a motivational speech that he gave. But you have to
Very,
make
very
the
good
jump,
speech.
huh?
Very, very good speech. I know it.
Very good speech. It's called "Make the Jump" by Steve Harvey. You have to make the jump, right?
Can you guys share that on the chat? That way I can look at it.
I'll look it up and share with you.
Thank
Because
you.
once you make the jump, the rewards will be waiting for you on the other side. God will catch you on the other side. But you have to make the jump, right? And so that's about it. All right, guys. Listen, thank you for your time once again. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tomorrow's
Yes.
Monday, Rami will be, tomorrow's Monday, Rami will be having his meeting over Zoom. Unfortunately, the link gets shared very late, so whenever I get it, I'll share with you. And Levon, if I don't get to share right that same second, please share with the group as well. Because I may not always be looking at my Telegram, and I don't want to delay it any more than we have. It's usually around
No problem.
around 9:45 when he starts his meeting. He's got 20 years. He's got 20 years of experience in the business, and he's somebody that I admire a lot. He's very, very focused on business and on his work. So absolutely something that you should make it a goal to attend on a regular basis.
Are we gonna meet on Wednesday? Since we met today, are we still meeting on Wednesday?
Yeah, it'll be Wednesday going forward. It's just today, this week.
Okay.
I was actually showing houses on Wednesday.
Okay.
So people are looking at houses. People are making offers. And by the way, I actually fired that buyer. I fired that buyer that I was showing houses to. I had this couple. I did do the buyer presentation, by the way, day one. We looked at about 8 houses or so, 10 houses or so. First of all, and the area they're looking at is about 45 minutes away from me, which is cool, right? The next thing is almost every time they would only have one house to see, right? Which I don't like. I like to show them 2-3 houses together, which is okay too, whatever. But then the husband and the wife are not on the same page. Like, they have different tastes, desires, and whatnot. And then a couple of times, they actually started to argue with each other in front of me. I completely don't like that. But that's not the point either. That's not the point either. Finally, they saw one house, and this is their words. They emailed me. They said, "We love this house." Okay? They said, "We love this house." Fine. I run comparables. It takes me about 30 minutes to run comparables, find comparables, and then write my analysis and email it to you, okay? And it's like a page-long analysis, breaking it down in layman's terms for you. Right. So I did that, and I did that at like 11:45 p.m., showing you I'm working late, whatever, right? For 2 days, I don't hear back anything. Not a reply to my email, and not a pickup or answer to my phone call. finally, when he does respond to me, he wants to make an offer $50,000 below asking price. Not asking price. Rephrase it. They want to make an offer $50,000 below market value. So if the house is worth 600, they want to offer 550. Okay? The house is worth 600, and by the way, the house didn't need any work. It's like magnificent. And then, and I get on the phone with him. I explained to him. I said, look, if you want me to make that offer, I will make that offer. But I want to educate you. I want to explain to you that the house is worth 600. I sent you comps. I showed you properties that back up my analysis. And by the way, price per square foot, if you look at price per square foot, this house was actually less expensive than all the other houses that I sent him on in comps. All right. First of all, he wants to offer $50,000 less than market value. And then secondly, he did not want to, I missed this step, by the way. Initially, I missed this step. I never got proof of funds from him. Okay? I never got proof of funds from him while I was showing him houses. I did not have that piece of paper with me. Now that it's time to make an offer, I ask him for proof of funds. He's like, I don't know why they need that, or I don't know why you need that. And I explained to him, I said, hey, we want to strengthen our file. We want to strengthen our case. We want to make our case to tell the seller that we are ready, willing, and able to buy this house. We are strong in our ability to buy. Anyway, he did not want to agree to that either. I said, all right, look, if you want me to make an offer, I'll make an offer. It's not mandatory to have proof of funds. It's also not, I don't know if you guys know, but it's also not mandatory to have pre-approval to make an offer. You don't need a pre-approval to make an offer. The seller may say, okay, give me the proof of funds. Or the seller may say, okay, your offer is accepted, now give me your proof of funds or pre-approval. You don't need it to make a pre-offer. But the question is, why would you? If you are really serious about buying a house, wouldn't you want to show everything that you got, right? So anyway, he did not want to give pre-approval. He did not want to, not a pre-approval, proof of funds, whatever. We made an offer. I made the offer. The agent called me next day, and the agent, you know, spent first 30, 40 seconds like berating me a little bit, right? He's like, are you serious? Right? And he's like, are you serious with this offer? You know, $50,000 less than, you know, the asking price also happens to be the market price, by the way, because the house is priced to sell. And in fact, I believe the house will go for $10,000 more than the asking price. I strongly believe that. Anyway, he's like, well, so after he, you know, he's like, how long you been in the business? I'm like, look, first of all, that's not relevant, how long I've been in the business. Secondly, I actually did tell my buyer that this is not the offer they should be making. I told him to make a higher offer, but this is what my buyer wants me to do, and I have to do what my buyer tells me to do. Right? He's like, do you know how difficult it was for me to present this offer to the seller who has kept their property in such a great condition, this and that? And I agree with him, because I'm a listing agent as well on some deals, and I've had the misfortune of presenting really lowball offers to my sellers, and it's not pleasant, right? Long story short, the guy's like, look, your offer is $50,000 less than the asking price. You have no proof of funds, blah, 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 blah. I went and told this to the buyers about it. I said, hey, I heard back from the seller's agent. First of all, he asked me if this was a joke, right? His words, I put it in parentheses. I said his words. But in any case, they're going to be waiting till Tuesday afternoon for final and best offer. So if there's anything more you'd like to offer, we have until Tuesday evening to make our final and best offer, blah, blah. From that, the husband and wife both went berserk in separate emails to me. Not necessarily towards me, toward the other agent, but I can feel it, right?
He must be getting prompted by somebody about all these things. He must be getting prompted.
No, the guy says he's a builder. He's been building buildings in Manhattan for like 35 years, which I respect. So he feels that he knows a lot, which I respect. But if you know a lot, then you should know market value. You should know comps, and you should also know about presenting proper documentation in order to get your offer accepted and be taken seriously. At the end of the day, my time and energy is valuable and limited, and therefore I'm not going to spend it on people who are not serious or reasonable. Imagine you're the seller and your house is worth $600,000. I'm not saying you're asking 600. I'm saying it's worth 600, and somebody sends you an offer for 550, right? And in fact, the 550 is not what he wanted to offer, by the way. That he actually wanted to offer 500, but his lender said that was not cool. His lender was able to talk him up, but
Wow.
I guess not enough. His lender was not able to talk him up enough, but his lender was able to talk him out of the 500. So I wrote a professional, nice little email. I said, hey, listen, I respect all of this, but I am deciding to terminate our agreement. And so that was the end of it. You got to do that. You got to do that, right?
How did he respond to that? Did he
He wrote me another email saying like he wrote me another email saying like you wanted us to offer something, you know, you wanted us to make an offer something, we're never going to offer asking price, or we're never going to offer this or whatever. How can you make a statement like you're never going to offer? You understand? If it's market value, you got to offer market value. I've worked with a buyer before that we went to see a house, and they liked the house, and I ran my comparables, and based on the comparables, that house was actually underpriced. So I told my buyers to make an offer. I told my buyers previously, another buyers, $75,000 more than the asking price. I told my buyers to offer $75,000 more than the asking price, and guess what? They listened. They made an offer $75,000 more than the asking price. And guess what? They still didn't get the house. We still got outbid. So, yes. So it has nothing to do with asking price. Some listing agents will underprice their listing on purpose to create a buzz and create an excitement. I told those buyers this house is worth $75,000 more than the asking price. They said, okay, let's go for it. They made an offer. We still got outbid. That tells you that the house went for even more than that. So anyways, that's about it, guys. Thank you again for your time. Enjoy your evening. Be safe and stay healthy. Stay happy. Talk to you guys.
Thank you, guys. Be safe and have a great rest of the weekend.
Thank
You
you.
too. See y'all tomorrow.
Everything.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.